Welcome to M365 UK. This is our August edition, and it's the 27th edition of the event, going on for about a couple of years. I'm Chirag Patel, and I'm the organizer here. And we have two wonderful speakers with us today, both MVPs in M365 apps and services. And it's my pleasure to have both of them taking their time out to be here with us. So we have Karoliina Kettukari from Finland, and we have Ragnar Hill from Germany. So both of you very warm welcome on a hot sunny day we have here in the UK. And I'm sure you have the similar sort of weathers in where you are as well. So. And the attendees, thanks very much for joining as well, and for some of you who join every month. So I really appreciate. It's a 2-hour event with about a break in middle for 10 minutes. You know, the chat's open there, so please feel free to ask questions or any links or thoughts. And I would just request, you know, just to honor everybody and to make sure we get a good experience. If we respect each other's opinions and what have you. So I'm sure we're all grown-ups and we can do that quite easily. Okay, so just before I hand over to Karoliina, so Karoliina's session is about the you know, the Microsoft Viva, which is all about the capability around employee experience, which is, you know, the offering from Microsoft for about a year and a half. So Karoliina's session is going to be more, but from a business point of view, and more specifically around the people side of things, because, you know, for some of us, we've seen the technologies come and go, and people are always at the center of it. So who gets the high end of that technology power? So looking forward to that great session from Karoliina in a few minutes. And then we have Ragnar Hill, which is all about minimizing your attack paths, you know, from Active Directory or Azure Active Directory. And so I've been, you know, there's going to be some tools demo there. So because it's never easy to do all things within Azure Active Directory itself. So looking forward to that, and hopefully you take away a lot of tips, tricks, and some of the things that you could just apply to your organization as you head back. For those of you who are not aware, I'm Chirag Patel. I live and work in London, UK. Techchirag.com is the best way to get to me. Been around for 20 odd years. Started off with SQL Server, DBA development, and then kind of gradually morphed into SharePoint, Office 365, and you know, since then just really haven't looked back, like many of us here as well. So gives me a good pleasure to work with all the customers and delivering all kinds of services around the deployments and migrations, or simply just you know, enhancing value to their existing business investments on the technologies. So you know, wear a number of hats. I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer, so I kind of generally train around SharePoint and Microsoft Viva courses. And also I try and help out in the community by speaking at various events, and including, you know, I know Karoliina and Ragnar, we've met at a few events. So kind of just really speak and share, and really also assess some of the folks in the IT to make sure the IT is always good. So I'm an assessor at the British Computer Society to make sure the good folks come through as chartered IT professionals. I'm also, you might have seen there, you know, Viva Explorer. This is something that, you know, it's a voluntary movement between a few of us, and in fact, Leslie, you know, delighted to have her on our M365 UK. She's the visionary of it, and she's kind of, you know, herself and Sarah Finna, who kind of spearheaded this whole Viva Explorer kind of guidance around it. And as a result, you know, there's quite a few of us, and there's more to come as well. So looking forward to all the MVPs who's basically committing their time and efforts into making the good of Microsoft Viva sharing and all good things that comes with that. So look out for that. Viva Explorer, if you go to hashtags on social media, and there's a website as well, so you can subscribe to a lot of content that's already out there. So hopefully that will be of beneficial to you. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, techchirag.com is the best way to get to me. For those of you, and you know, this has been going on for 2 years now. Again, none of us get paid for doing all these things, but really hoping that a lot of you have gained benefits by attending M365 UK, and just want to say thank you for following. There's over 900 attendees so far, registered attendees over the meetup. Tend to post a lot of the recordings and slides as it happens, kind of following a couple of days. So next one will be around Friday, Saturday this week. So if you haven't already, then M365 UK is the YouTube channel, and you can access the past recordings as well. And the usual things, slides are on SharePoint site as well, so you can access all that content from the previous speakers. So once again, yeah, big thanks for everyone to be part of M365 UK. Goes without saying, as myself as well, learning all the time. So these are a few of the events that's happening in the next few months, including the first one, which is all about metaverse, hosted by Chris Horde, Rescue, and a few others. Online event happening on the 7th September. So if you haven't already, then please head over to the metaverse space. -1.space website. I'm sure you can Google it or Bing it. As well as Collab Days is happening in the UK at Bletchley Park for those who attended the last one at National Museum of Computing. Same venue and different speakers, different content. So looking forward to that as well. And then you got some big events happening as well. So South Coast Summit as well in Southampton, and we got Viva Workshop running there as well. So I'm part of that with Kevin McDonald and Zoe Wilson as well. So hopefully you can make to those events. And then obviously to finish off the year and kind of in Denmark is the European SharePoint conference. It's probably one of the best conferences going on for many years now, and there's plenty of sessions going over 4 days. So hopefully you can make to one or all of those, and that would be great. But yeah, hope to see one of those events or online or in person. Okay, so back to M365 UK. Yeah, I think Karoliina, who's a 3-time MVP now, and a lot of her work has been around the adoption, modern workplace, and really kind of getting to the depths of making sure that people get the best out of the tech. So I won't sort of take all our intro away, but yeah, from technology to people first, Microsoft Viva as the employee platform. So big welcome to you, Karoliina, and it's over to you. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Chirag. And hello and good evening for everyone. I'm here at my our new office today. We moved here 2 weeks ago, and we have like this separate webinar room, but it's not set up yet. So then I will have all of those professional lighting and professional cameras and everything. But right now I'm here with my Surface laptop, and I think we are okay. So let me share my screen. Yay. I'm very excited about today because this is actually my first conference in a couple of months. I did a lot of webinars with Microsoft here in Finland during spring, but then in the summer I had 5 weeks of summer holiday in July. I didn't even open Twitter during my summer holiday. Oh, I did. I posted one picture in Twitter, but I was totally out of business, out of job, and it was really nice. It was really relaxing, and now it's very nice to be back, and super nice to be here and present for you. Please, you can ask questions in chat anytime you want to. I'll try to follow the chat, and if you have anything you want to know more, or do you disagree with me or anything, just please tell. And I think we have lots of time here in the next 45 minutes to go through all of different aspects of Microsoft Viva, and especially the employee experience point of view. So as Chirag told you, my topic here today is Microsoft Viva, and specifically how you can think of IT project and how you can think of technology into people perspective and from the employee perspective. And I was actually pretty excited when I did my slides for this presentation, because I went through some of my old projects, like my old customer project from 2018, 2019, and I noticed that we have some of those familiar elements already in those projects when we, for example, didn't have Viva at all. But now they are more important and maybe more actual than ever. So just a couple of words about me, because I like talking about me. No, of course, let's keep this short. I'm Karoliina. I'm from Finland. We are having a heat wave here at the moment, but it's like 23 degrees, which is a lot for Finland. And I work as the modern work lead at Finnish IT consultancy company called Meltlake. And then I try to think that what I'm really excited about at the moment in my work and what I really like in the Microsoft scheme at the moment. And I think Teams as a hub for teamwork has been a huge topic for like a couple of years already, like Teams as a platform, Teams as a hub for teamwork. But I think that's only now, when we have all of these new Viva capabilities, this thing is really going to work. And this hub for teamwork is really going to be reality. So that's one thing I'm really, really interested about right now. And then, of course, modern internal communications, how you can utilize all the different applications, all the different solutions in M365 so that you can really reach the people in your organization. Not only SharePoint, not only Teams, but the whole platform, M365 as a communications platform. And then, of course, AI capabilities in Viva. Yeah, we have topics with lots of AI things, but also lots and lots of AI in Viva Insights. And that's super, super interesting for me. And maybe we will hear a bit more of that in this presentation as well. But let's get on with my agenda. So I have 4 topics, four things or themes for you today. First of all, a bit of a background. So sorry. I've been doing IT consultancy projects for about 6 years. And before that, I was doing SharePoint things in the customer side since SharePoint 2007. And I want to share with you some insights about how IT projects, or specifically Teams adoption, teamwork projects, were a couple of years ago and how they are now. Because that's a very important background for when we think about employee experience and the combining employee experience with this cool new technology. Then, of course, we have to think about why employee experience matters, because we have Microsoft, it's technology, we have licenses, we have all the system solutions, but why do we talk about HR business or human care business, employee experience, which is very soft thing, very soft values? I think this little piggy bank right here is the first tip already, that employee experience matters because it's the money in the business. And then we go through what actually is Microsoft Viva, and I know that many of you are actually experts in Viva, and I think some of you know more about some Viva solutions than me. But what we are doing today is that we focus on the employee experience point of view in different Viva solutions. And we think about how you can get started with different Viva applications with the people first mindset. Sorry, I had something in my throat. Cool. Okay, so I think we all know that during these last couple of years, in some mysterious way, the world has changed. And it has a lot to do with COVID, of course, with the sudden change to remote working. And I think it's a pretty old picture already, but I really love the picture where you have to question that who runs the digitalization in your company, CEO, CTO, and the real answer is COVID. Because so many companies, hundreds of thousands of employees who never thought they would work remotely were forced to do that in just a couple of weeks. But the question here is that are organizations really ready with this new world? These pictures and these trends are actually from my presentation that I had in 2019 in then SharePoint Saturday, nowadays Collab Days Belgium. And I will actually be at Collab Days Belgium in, when is it? In October, yeah. But I have a bit different topic then. But these pictures and these trends were the top thing we focused on in 2018, in 2019, in what we then called Teams, user groups, and projects. So everything I did was focused on Microsoft Teams, migrating from on-premises to the cloud, and how to get people using those basic functionalities in Teams, and how to get people using Teams over Skype. And this actually just a chart right here in the right-hand corner was from one of my customer projects we did in 2018, 2019. And there was this huge victory moment in the project. Like it was so great success when the usage of Teams actually went up and the usage of Skype went down. And nowadays, at least in Finland, we don't anymore have Skype. We don't have this kind of discussions that should we move from on-premises to the cloud, because everyone are on the cloud already. Of course, some government organization, etc., may still be on premises, but generally speaking. And then when we think about what happens now with my customers, so what do I talk about with my customers? What kind of project do I do at the moment? And employee experience is the word, like the buzzword that comes up very, very often. Also, we talk about positioning digital tools. And I also share with you some insights and info that we have so many applications and we have so many tools at the moment that people are lost and people are confused. So actually those positioning projects, what tool to use when, how do I reach my my audience, how do I use different channels in Teams, different groups in Yammer or Viva, etc. Is a super important thing. And of course, governance, findability, still a huge topic. It hasn't changed at all. But employee experience, the people side of the change is a huge topic at the moment. And I think we have done all of these similar things in the past, because I took a I read the presentation I took the previous slide from, and in the presentation we talked about finding the owners, thinking about the end users, thinking about champions, and all of these things are really about enhancing the employee experience. So maybe we just now have these new buzzwords for things we've actually been doing for years already in organizations. And why I think this really matters is that, where's my piggy bank slide? Here. Yeah, no. Now I got my pick on the screen. Is that the employees are actually the most important asset in almost every organization. You can buy new things, you can buy new laptops, you can buy new production lines, but almost nothing runs in the world without employees. And because I love statistics, and Microsoft is really, really good with doing this new work trend index research and everything else. So I took up a couple of numbers from those statistics. And these are things I have used when I've talked about employee experience and when I try to convince, for example, managers, C-level people in organizations that why they should actually invest in Viva. Why should they buy the Viva licenses? Because it's so much money, yeah. But what's the return of invest with Viva licensing? These numbers, these teams could be your answer. So, of course, our values have changed. And I think the way Microsoft put it in their work trend index website is that there is a new worth it equation. So is my work really worth it? Do I really want to spend 7.5 hours per day or even more at the office? And over half of the workforce are more likely to prioritize health, well-being than work. So people tend to, for example, leave home earlier or stop working when they are done with the day and not continue working all night or all days long anymore. And I think that's healthy. That's super important. I really, really appreciate organizations who support the work-life balance for their employees. But also, we talk lots about employee engagement. And one interesting thing, especially if we talk about Viva Learning, is that almost every employee say that if only my company would invest in learning, if only my company would have some digital training tool, I would stay at my company longer. And the thing is that we have those tools. We have Viva Learning now. It's super nice way to combine your LMS systems to teams to bring the learning bits of pieces into your work context. So yet again, one thing, why should you maybe buy those Viva licenses after all? Why the employee experience really matters. And we can also talk about money, because losing people is super, super expensive. Of course, you lose silent knowledge. That's one way to put it. But also hiring new people costs a lot. I think I did this short video for Comsverse where I showed some example calculations about how much does it cost to hire a new person. And if I remember correctly, it was on average 4,000 euros per normal jobs. If we want to fill up those manager positions, headhunters start from 20,000 euros, and it may take over half a year to fill some C-level position. And the more people you lose, the more expensive it gets. So when you actually invest in keeping people engaged, keeping people happy, having that great employee experience, the people stay in your company and you save money by happiness. I love that. And that's really reality, because many workers are moving more, not like maybe physically moving, but switching companies more than ever before. And of course, productivity, effectiveness, performance. I know I have one customer, and one of the customer strategic choices or goals is that their employees are productive and perform well. And if we think about it from the employee experience point of view, engaged employees are more productive. Actually, also happy employees are more productive. So when you think about, do you want to restrict people more, want to have all of these new rules, or do you just want to make super simple things that maybe keep people happy, maybe take the happy route? And this is interesting because, as I said in the beginning, we talk a lot about these soft values. We talk a lot about human care, human resources kind of things, maybe even mindfulness, learning, and that may be so long away from the normal IT business, licensing business, security business. And that's true, because usually when I talk about these kind of things, my counterparts are totally different from the counterparts we talk with, for example, migration projects. So maybe also you need to find those new roles in organizations, new owners for these kind of things. And maybe Microsoft Viva is not an IT role, IT owned thing anymore. Maybe it's more of HR thing, learning thing, or even C-level thing. Cool. And I was on a summer holiday for 5 weeks, and in the meantime, like during my summer holiday, they suddenly brought out 2 more Viva solutions, Engaged and Sales. I don't actually, Sales doesn't have this logo even, so I put just like this round thing in there. But Viva is growing pretty fast. It was a whole new thing just a year and a half ago. Now it's 7 different applications. And this is also funny because in my summary for this session, which I wrote before the summer holiday, I talked about Ally.io, which is now Viva Goals. And I talked about Glint, and I actually didn't take Glint in here because the Glint publishing has gone into 2023 or whatever. So it's in the future, coming maybe sometime, but not sometime soon. So things are moving, things are shifting pretty fast. And the thing I hear from customers, thing I hear from the employees, and even from my coworkers, even from Microsoft consultants who do this as a business, is that I'm so confused. I have just learned what means Viva Connections. Now there's like 6 more applications I need to know of. Or I know Teams, I know SharePoint, but then we have these 20 different solutions in M365 alone, and then all of these Viva things as well. No normal, regular employee can keep up with this kind of phase. These new applications, new things are coming. And I think this is very different from the traditional point of view. We have been used to doing IT projects. We have used to doing Microsoft projects, because the traditional thing is to buy licenses, launch, maybe have some kind of internet launch party, maybe some Champions Network. But now when new applications come all the time, like every second month, there is something new in M365. You just can't keep up with the pace. And when we think of the employees, because I want to think the employees, I think this is soothing message you can tell to normal, regular workers. You don't have to remember. You don't have to remember what engage means. You don't have to know what Viva Learning is. I know because many employees still talk about link when they mean Skype, when they actually mean Teams chat. So people are stuck in the past, and they have so much going on with their normal work processes that these kind of insights, goals, topics, lists, planner, to do, etc. They don't have mind capacity to remember all of this, and it's not their job. Their job could be accounting. Their job could be teaching. It's our job to keep up with all of these new things and to make it as easy for the employees as possible. So my solution for this has been that Microsoft Viva enhances Teams with the people first mindset. And of course, yeah, it enhances Outlook. You can use topics in Outlook, Yammer, SharePoint, lots of different things. But when I like or love, yeah, the idea of Teams as a hub for teamwork, then just a simplification, I talk about Viva enhancing Teams. And I think here the magic word is that it brings bits and pieces of important information in the context of your work. So you don't have to know what is Viva Insights. You don't have to know how you can open topics. But when you are doing your normal job, like day-to-day work, it like magically with this AI brings the thing you need and brings the information you need right where you are at the moment. And that's super, super cool. Okay, Viva Train. Yeah. Then I will go through 5 of these Viva solutions from the employee experience point of view, from the end user point of view. So I will not tell you about how to use all of these things. I will not tell you what you can do with everything, but I try to summarize these things with sentences I really use with my customers, which know nothing about technology, which know nothing about Microsoft, for example. So I try to talk about these things with plain and simple language. And I hope this viewpoint might give something different to you, and maybe might give some new ideas for you as well. And of course, I will share my slides after this, so you can utilize all of this information after this as well. But connections and Engage, I put them together because Engage is a new thing right now. But what I really say about connections to my customers, to normal people, is that it offers different ways to offer targeted, relevant information to different user groups, different roles, different locations on your mobile. It's very much mobile first point of view, and that's something very new and very different for many organizations. And what's the employee experience in here? Is to really make company communications relevant, targeted again. So instead of having this, for example, one huge internet front page with all the different news from everywhere in your multinational company, the employee will open their phone, open Teams application, and then see just the pieces of news that are important for them. That's the dream goal. Of course, it's not as simple in reality, but that's the idea behind all this. It also offers the possibility to utilize communication methods that people have used in their free time. So, for example, these new stories, mystery functionality in Viva Engage, in Yammer, different mobile functionalities, boosted news, lots of these super simple things and tips and tricks you can utilize to really focus on the message you want to deliver to different roles in. And of course, you want employees to feel that they belong in the team, feel that they belong in the company. And if the employee goes to internet front page and all the things they see are, I don't know, stock market, press releases, it's not relevant to them. They want to hear, they want to see, they want to read what's relevant to their job. And this is what Viva Connections will bring. Okay, how to get started? Of course, I have the team slogan there because most of these things, for example, the whole mobile experience is in Teams, in fact. But one thing I would really focus on is to think of the different user groups, user roles. How does the targeting work? And is your AD actually updated? And yeah, it's year of Yammer again. Every year is year of Yammer. And if you use Yammer, now it's time to think about relaunching it with the Viva Engage, because it's going to be a very important part of communications in large organizations. It's not going away. No, it's not dying. It's here. Cool. Topics. Topics, I think, brings out the best from AI combined with the help from people. Topics does not work in the way that you just click it on and it magically creates things for you. It does that, but it needs the help from real people. And the beautiful thing with topics is that it brings the knowledge where you are. You don't have to search things. You don't have to even switch the application. If you are in Outlook, you see the thing you're talking about. If you are in Teams, if you are in SharePoint, everything works. Very beautiful, very magical. Yet again, not that easy to achieve in real life. But the idea is very, very employee focused. And the thing here, of course, is to transform information into knowledge. And when I actually interview lots of people in different organizations, they usually say that I know the person who knows about this thing. And it's a very people-driven knowledge culture. And with Viva Topics, you can actually start sharing knowledge a lot more, and you can sift away from the you know who. I know this person, so I have the knowledge. And more to the shared knowledge is golden point of view. And what I really like about topics is the idea that you have the card, topics card, where you are. No content switching, which takes lots of time. No searching, no nothing new. It's right here when you are reading your email or writing news or writing messages in Teams. But yeah, I talked about lots of topics with companies in Finland. And of course, in Finland, the problem is in many cases that it's in English. And in Finland, yeah, we have English as company language in many companies, but not in every company. But I know in UK, not a problem. I think one way to get started from the people perspective is to think about some pilot case. Do you have products in your company? Do you have projects, internal processes that could be a great starting place for Viva topics? If you just think that let's create topics from everything, it may not be the best starting point and from the employee experience point of view. And always have people, experts who have time to really dedicate it to curate those topics and curate those pages. Because without the help from humans, the AI just isn't there quite yet. Maybe in the future, not right now. Yep. Okay, learning. Super cool, super interesting. And one of the nicest things in learning for me is actually the same thing done with topics. That it will bring the learning into context of your work. If you are in Teams, you don't have to go to a separate learning management system. You don't have to go to the internet to search your courses. It brings everything inside the one window, inside where you are doing your job day to day. And why should you really invest in learning, or what's the ROI in the learning from the employee point of view? Is of course that, as I showed you in the beginning when we talked about statistics and numbers, is that if you invest in training programs, if you invest in learning, people are more engaged, employees perform better, they are more effective, and they actually stay at the company longer. So Viva Learning might simply pay back in the way that you don't lose a couple of important employees to some other competing business. And I know Viva Learning already has lots of integrations with learning management systems. But the thing, for example, in Finland, is that they don't have integrations with the systems we use here in Finland. So when I talk with customers about Viva Learning, is that I usually say that you can test the free version of Viva Learning, just like handpicking a couple of useful free videos. And then you can promote those videos in chat, for example, or in Teams channels. So you have so much free content in Viva Learning that I don't know if it's the best strategy to tell people just go and search and look all those different videos, but choose a couple of videos and promote those in Teams, in Yammer, in chat, and that's a great place to start to use Viva Learning. And then, if you see it useful, and if you have an LMS system that could be integrated in Viva Learning, you'd really investigate the integration. How does it work? Does it serve its purpose? I think Viva Learning is a solution that will be better during time in the future when we have more integrations and when we have more possibilities to, for example, create courses and follow them up. Yeah, Chirag, excellent point and tip from Chirag, that if you have SharePoint document libraries, you can also bring those into Viva Learning. I just should add the tip to my slides as well. Cool. Insights. We have a couple of more Viva solutions to go through in here. So Viva Insights, it has a couple of different phases. It has a couple of different sides to it. But for a normal employee, I like to say that Viva Insights is your personal assistant who takes care of making your work easier by offering, for example, automatic focus time, reminding you that you should stop working today, asking how you feel, asking you to give praise to your colleagues, reminding you to have one-on-ones with your manager. So it's your personal assistant. And who would want to have a personal assistant? That's a super nice thing. It makes your workday easier. And yeah, then we have the other side of Viva Insights, which is the organizational side and the managerial side of Insights. I think that's super interesting, super important, and really way to enhance employee experience in companies in the future. But the thing with the organizational insights is that it's really difficult the conversations with your legal department, with your HR department. So yeah, not maybe the best way to start with the organizational insights. But what does it do? What does it do for the employees? Yeah, if you are a supervisor, if you are a manager, it helps you to be connected with your team. It really says that, hey, you haven't had one-on-one with your team members for a while. This time slot is available for both of you. Do I book this? And then you just click yes, please. It helps everyone to stay focused on the task at hand by reserving, scheduling focus time in your calendar, scheduling lunch breaks in your calendar, and also by focusing at work and separating work from free time. For example, by offering the virtual commute or offering headspace meditation during your working day. And one thing I really love about Insights is that you can give kudos. You can send praise to your colleagues, and especially when we are working remotely, we too rarely say to our colleagues that good job, well done, you did well. And praise in Teams is really one of my favorite little functionality that really has an important, makes a difference when we talk about employee experience at work. So you maybe guess how to get started. Promote praise, promote focus time. Viva Insights has tens of different functionalities, and not everything is for everyone. So choose a couple of things that you might find useful for your organization. Promote those in Teams, in Yammer, in chat, in team meetings, and show example so that you have reserved focus time in your own calendar, and ask your colleagues, do they use, for example, the virtual commute at the end of their workday? And if you are interested in the organizational insights, managerial insights, you should really investigate the possibilities with HR, HHE, Human Care, and your legal department before getting too excited. Because I know so many HR managers that has been really excited about Viva Insights, and then the legal department has said that, yeah, no way, we can't do it in our organization. Maybe a bit later, but yeah. So Alex asked that what kind of discussions. So yeah, for example, in Germany, I don't know if you have someone from Germany right here. It's very strict with the work council, and we have, yeah, Ragnar knows everything about it. So yeah, they are very strict with tracking. And yeah, Viva Insights is anonymized, so it's anonymous data, but still, it can be very tough discussions. Cool, great questions, thank you. Then, last but not least, Viva Goals. And yeah, this was Ally.io, a totally separate company which Microsoft bought some time ago, and now it's been rebranded as Viva Goals. And the thing with Viva Goals, it's an OKR tool, which is a management system, goal setting system. And what Viva Goals does is it creates a transparent path from what you do at your everyday work, what are your goals, up to team goals, up to unit department goals, all the way to the whole company strategic mission and strategic goals. And the idea of this is awesome. I really like the idea of Viva Goals, and I really hope to get some real life experiences of this in the future. We, in our company, we use OKR in our goal management system, and we are starting to use Viva Goals quite soon, actually. So let's see how it goes. And from the end user, from the employee point of view, goals make everything really transparent. It gives the sense of meaning. My work matters. What I do every day really has an effect on the company goals or on our team goals. And it also creates the sense of equality, because you can see that where my goals are, how your team goals are going, and you can see the level where we are right now or all the time. And especially for the managers who are responsible for their unit performance and their team performance, Goals offers a super simple and very visual way to really follow that you are on track. Hopefully you are on track, because actually here Megan Bowen is behind on her goals. Too bad. This is totally new. I think it went GA like 2 weeks ago, so really new. But it's now available for everyone with separate licensing, of course. But if you are interested in Viva Goals, you really need to learn the basics of the OKR model first, and then think about, does this Viva Goals suit for your company? And of course, you can pilot Viva Goals with one team, one department, but this tool, these applications is not for everyone. You really need to be serious with the OKR model, OKR system, and really utilize the goals all the way. You can just like, it's no use if you just test it and then it doesn't work. Cool. I'm almost at the end of my time, so let's wrap this up. I hope you get some ideas, insights about the people first, employee experience point of view with different Viva applications. And why employee experience matters, why I like to think about Microsoft Viva as the employee experience platform, is that it keeps your employees engaged, it keeps them happy, and happy employees, as we know, are more effective. They are more productive. It makes people's day easier by reducing context switching. It makes sure that you utilize all the licenses you're paying for, because we pay so much for our licenses. And it empowers every employee. Empowering every employee has been Microsoft's slogan for, I don't know, a couple of years already. But I think with Viva, it's really one step closer to the reality, because it offers important information, communication to every employee with any device. Cool. Thank you. Couple of minutes left. If you have some questions still, you can use the chat, and I will share my slides with Chirag, and Chirag will share my slides with you.
Excellent, great presentation, Karoliina. I really appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for we'll take the slides and share to the attendees. But I think it's kind of difficult to fit all the Viva modules into this kind of less than an hour, isn't it? So that's a very good overview, and especially like you say, it's always about the tech and the excitement of the tools, but it's the people who's going to use it. So why should they use it, right? So I think it's interesting one there. Good stuff. I'll probably just hand over to the attendees. So I know Michael's got his hand on, so absolutely, yeah, Michael, go for it. Go ahead with the question.
Hand went down.
That's okay. Anybody, don't be shy. You can unmute yourself. Maybe show us your face as well. That'll be good. And just fire away, because I think we don't take it for granted, right? That Viva is something easy or straightforward, and because it's part of Teams, so one would pick it up. And I can probably share a couple of examples, because I'm doing a couple of trials and the pilot, kind of exercises with the clients. So. Where, for example, the Viva topics and Viva Goals, in particular with Viva Goals, what I'm finding, right, is that culture, right, how people record and how they get measured in terms of that transparency. And I think that's the biggest shock that a lot of the folks will get, because that's the first question I get, what, will everybody see everything? And, that kind of visibility. So there is that mindset, of course, where people have to be treated equally, and sharing and kind of that stuff. So it's going to be interesting more than tech around how that kind of unfolds. But a lot of what you said there, Karoliina, absolutely, it's just kind of start small and then work big with the rollout.
Yeah. I would like to know more if somebody here who's listening has used Viva Sales in the last days. So I made my first experiments in Viva Sales using Salesforce, and I was actually pretty so it worked very well. So if somebody would like to talk more about Viva Sales, I have some bit of real life use cases here.
That'd be good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, sure. So if you would like to see more.
Okay, there's a bit of echo.
I've got a quick question which will cover sales.
Please.
Sorry, I'll put my headphones in.
Yes, please.
I think Jonathan's just fixing that mic. I think it was coming from.
Okay.
Fixing that mic. I think it was.
Yeah, probably had an echo because I have my speakers on. So Jonathan from Capgemini, we're trialing Viva Engage and Viva Connect at the moment, primarily for kind of replacing our intranet and putting the content within a Teams window, because we realize everybody uses Teams and nobody bothers going to the intranet, apart from trying to find links to other applications around the company. But we're a large company, so we've also got Salesforce and we've got SAP SuccessFactors. I love the idea of the goals, and I love the idea that there could be SAP sales as well. But are there APIs that go out to these other larger platforms?
Not at the moment. So from Viva Sales, there are only currently. I'm just talking about now. There's only Dynamics 365 integration and also a Salesforce, but no other CRMs and no APIs at the moment. Of course, there will be APIs, but we don't have information about timelines of APIs and other CRMs.
Yeah. Thank you.
On the CRM, I'm just trying here now to find a nice email which I can show you without sharing my complete production Outlook here. It's the biggest value is for Viva Sales. You have an Outlook add-in, so that's the main point. Just imagine a customer would send you an Outlook email, and then you are able, using this Outlook add-in, to check if you have the right contact data. Maybe you see, oh, this guy has really changed his title, or the telephone number should be changed. So you can go to Outlook and change contact details automatically, which is going to be written up to Salesforce or to Dynamics. So that's use case number one, changing contact details. The second use case is in Outlook also is that it pulls out your CRM opportunities. So your colleague, your customer Jodo is part of a company called Contoso, and then it pulls out automatically the open opportunities, and you will see in Outlook the opportunities you have with this customer who just wrote you an email. So that's another big value. And now it's going to be exciting because if you go to Microsoft Teams and you add Viva Sales to a Microsoft Teams meeting, important step is, listen, first set up a meeting, then edit the meeting and add the Viva Sales app, close it, and then you join the meeting. So if you join the meeting and then add the Viva Sales app, it doesn't work. So new meeting, edit, add the Viva Sales app, and then join the real meeting. And then it's going to do the following stuff. It's going to transcribe your complete video and meeting and create an abstract out of it. So you have a meeting, 30 or 60 minutes or whatever, and it's going to create very short sentences as a meeting abstract, which you can copy and paste and put it directly into your CRM. So that's a big value. So it's an auto abstraction tool, which is going to make 2 or 3 sentences out of your 10,000 words you've just spoken in your half an hour. And it's going to share the amount of spoken words. So that's also nice. So just imagine your customer has spoken the word migration 15 times. Then it's highlighting, oh, listen, the word migration or the word Azure or Viva was mentioned 15 times in the whole meeting. It seems to be a very important topic for your customer. So that's also very nice. I think these are the main values what I've currently seen.
That's fascinating, isn't it? I mean, there's a string of scenarios there, Ragnar. That's very useful. Absolutely. I mean, it's been only a week or so, isn't it? I think since it's gone into a preview, right?
Yeah, I think it was last Thursday, something. Yeah, just a few days ago.
A lot of scenarios there. I mean, yeah, bit of an eye opener. I think that's the whole point, because sometimes you see the marketing spiel from Microsoft, in terms of what it can do and the power of it and everything else. And I think from by the sounds of it, from your early insights into that, it looks, a time saver, I think, in some of the activities you can do. So good stuff.
And it's usage of a bot. So technically, you're running a Teams meeting. You're adding a Viva Sales app to the Teams meeting, and then the bot comes back to you, and the bot tells, "Hey, listen, I've just created an abstract here," and that's the way how you can use it and just copy and paste it and save it into your CRM. So nice bot use case.
Great stuff. Great for happy salespeople, right? I think for a lot of the
we all love when things are saving time.
Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, well, I'm sure there's probably a lot more to that come out, and I think I really appreciate that as well, Ragnar, for throwing in that insight. And yeah, I think Viva, it is not just this year, but next year, more years to come. And I think even in Microsoft's own documentation, they've kind of hinted that sales is the first role-based service or module, if you like, from Viva. So who knows? There's probably more in the pipeline. We don't know. No insight of nothing. But I think when they mention the word first, you just know that there is obviously something cooking. So, anyways, we'll wait and see. So I think with that, I'll probably just say kind of try and wrap up the session 1. So I think once again, big thanks to Karoliina from Finland for taking her time. And giving up, for her time to be here at M365 UK. You may have seen already the link in the chat window I've put in for the feedback, so that will really help Karoliina as ever for speakers, because then obviously these slides, I'm sure by the time Karoliina presents the next time, some of the screenshots will probably change, or maybe new info will come in. So I think it'll really help her out as well to try and get any kind of feedback. So if you can do that, that'd be great. Very short questions. So Leslie, I think I can see your hand is up. I'm not sure if that was from before previous session or did I miss your question, but feel free to unmute and go for it.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, everyone. No, it's just the thought, really, from following on from Karoliina's lovely presentation, that, you know, there is so much amazing features and applications that are coming through so thick and fast, but we have to kind of take that, you know, be sensible about this and understand, you know, the immense structure of Teams right from the starting point, that many organisations are not even using channels, and if they're not using channels, then they can't use Viva. So it's helping them again on their way, and this is a real journey, not a sprint, into Viva. And we've got to, you know, as user adoption consultants and experts, you know, we are there in the partner network to help organizations use Teams much better. You know, it's so many organizations still think that Teams is Skype for Business with just meetings, chat and telephony like Zoom, but we all know, coming along to sessions like these, that it is so much more. It is so much, it's such a rich platform to run your business like we never imagined. So it is starting with user adoption for organizations to get the best out of channels, move them out of just having chats and get them into using channels for collaboration. Start there and then start introducing, you know, the different modules. Maybe you need a new intranet, you need to get to frontline workers, or you need a better learning hub. It's taking a step back to take that massive step forward. I just thought I'd share that thought.
Yeah, no, it is true. I mean, you know, hands up, I love my folders. So, you know, it's the same like that chat. And I think, yeah, you're just going to find young, old, in between everybody. You know, people will have different working styles, right? And just like with channels and chats, we still get people just ringing you up just to get things done, right? So it's, yeah, different communication styles and collaboration. But I think, no, good. Thanks for sharing that. Useful, and I'm sure we'll probably hear more as well as we get more thoughts, ideas. So.
And Leslie, by the way, Leslie, you get me excited when I'm thinking about the open communication style together with Viva Sales. So let's call it selling out loud in the spirit of working out loud. When we talk in a broader group about achieving more and selling more to our customers, because currently, to be honest, in my daily life is full of one-to-one calls. So I've got one-to-one with my sellers and key account manager, but I don't have a large call because everybody should be super effective. We don't have 10 people in a call, but I'm a big believer in asynchronous, wider, open discussions about opportunities and sales.
Yeah, but that's the same for Viva Goals as well. So it's similar, isn't it? It's similar.
Yeah.
Viva Sales.
So Viva Goals and achieving goals with working out loud. That's the match made in heaven. That's for sure. I couldn't be more pathetic and enthusiastic.
Well, no, if it improves people's way of working, then why not, right? So I think that's key. Right, good. I think conscious of time, especially for some of the attendees who probably may need to shoot off at the 6 o'clock local time here. So I'd love to have, and happy to hang around after 6 as well. So it'll be great. But let me kind of just bring Ragnar, and a lot of you will probably have come across Ragnar. He's been in the IT industry for more than 20 odd years. I certainly have been one of the followers, like many thousands. And so yeah, Ragnar's kind of done all things SharePoint, Search, and Office 365 migrations, and obviously he works with Quest and others in the past. So session is very interesting because we do Microsoft Viva Teams, still all part of Azure tenants. So ultimately, it's all about the identity and especially the attack that happens to the tenant. So Active Directory, Azure Active Directory from all sorts of angles. So looking forward to some of the tools that I think Ragnar mentioned in his session abstract, Bloodhound and a few others, I think, to kind of just hopefully improve our, as administrators for the tenant administrators' lives to hopefully minimize those attacks. So 5-time MVP Ragnar is, and he's got his own podcast and, you know, runs from Germany and a few other community events over the years. So with that, a very warm welcome to you, Ragnar, and take it away.
Super. Thank you so much. Very appreciate, Chirag. So happy that you're still here. I'm going to try to make the presentation as interesting as I can. Yes, it's all about cybersecurity and threats and attacks, but I'm going to also show you in a combination with a few slides, also live demos here, so to make it more engaging. I think Chirag already mentioned everything. So you find me at Ragnar.de. Actually, every social network I'm there except Tinder. That's not compliant with my chief family officer. I'm running a podcast. I'm running a bi-weekly Teams update with Alex Eggers, the Alex and Ragnar show. I worked for Microsoft 11 years, and now I'm working at Quest since exactly 5 years as the partner channel manager covering the German-speaking area, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and I'm in the industry since 23 years. Yep, and I was together with Microsoft on the hybrid work tour last year, spending 5 days on the road. So I'm also a big evangelist of hybrid work and working everywhere, and also traveling with vans to the country. And today I will show you a presentation which actually I've never given in the past. So it's always great to give fresh presentations and not something which I've done 30 times over the last month. And it's all about attack path. So I'll give you an introduction why the graphical visualization of attacks might be interesting and might be relevant to secure your hybrid environment. And hybrid means not like hybrid work tour, where we're traveling in vans. Hybrid means here on-premise and cloud in combination. Because we're not anymore in the age where we only see mail attacks, virus, Trojans, malware, phishing. We also see now that the AD is now the favorite target. 25 billion attempted attacks. So attempted, so not successful, but attempted on Azure AD in 2021. 25 billion. So actually every single company on the planet now, which is a bit larger, owns an AD. So AD has an absolute a monopoly, and also the non-Microsoft companies are using it. So it is a target because it is so incredibly popular, AD and Azure AD. And the difficult thing is, as Karoliina said, there is a huge change in usage behavior. You know, Viva is rolling out. Viva is adding more and more tools. So these new applications also create new attacks. So the IT needs to reinvent because many new tools are added to the modern workplace, which is creating new paths to get into the vault and be a global admin, for example, and then be in a God state role where he or she can do anything. I'm going to talk more in the he gender thing, because usually the attackers are male, but yeah, correct me when I'm gendering wrong. Finding attack is unfortunately virtually guaranteed. So companies cannot say anymore they will never be attacked. This is completely wrong. So every company who has an AD is a potential victim and will be attacked over the next weeks, months, and years. And the interesting thing is now following, especially when we go out to the customer, we do consulting and we create NIST assessments, and then finally after the assessment we create lists and recommendations and reports. We as a defender think in lists. Okay, we create reports. These are the configuration changes in Teams policy changes. Here are the configuration changes in SharePoint and so on. The configuration changes on the Viva level. So we like to create lists of configuration changes, good configuration changes, risky and bad configuration changes. But we think of lists. But the attackers think of graphs. They want to find the most easy and effective way, which can be a how do you call it in English, of the hidden path, so not the official main path, so of the hidden path, they will find their ways, and the paths are going to be really multiple ways, and this is creating a massive amount of complexity. These different ways, because it is not the way that you only following the typical attack path that a user, let's say I'm called David, I'm phished by email. I just pushed on the wrong button with my email, I was phished. Then the aggressor, the attacker, is going to get access to my role, and I'm part of a help desk. And the help desk role is actually also part of a second level support. And then the second level as a support is local admin on a special server. And the special server finally has got a session on a domain control server. And finally, this is a member of the domain controllers of the domain admins. And then with this kind of path, which is a typical path which you've seen many times in the past, this slide is still right. It's still correct. But on the other hand, it's correct, but it looks too easy, because in real life, it is different. And that's the main goal here of my session, to show you that this kind of attack path, when the attacker is finally an official admin and nobody is going to recognize that the attacker is now a global admin, this path is only theory, because in reality, there are many, many, many different paths. And that's the real issue. It creates huge complexity, and it's very difficult to find out how the paths are going. And it can also be that it's completely unreadable. So the complexity of having multiple paths is not readable anymore. And with PowerShell, you only find typical things like, please tell me how many users have administration rights on this computer. Then you will find out, using the net local group admins, okay, there are only 4 people who have access. But the main issue is that we are using, in the Windows world, we're using group nesting. So it's not that 4 people have admin rights on the computer, or 7. It's in this case, what do we have here? I think it's 31. So the combination with the group nesting is incredible. And that's the reason why pictures are looking very complicated. That's the issue of group nesting, because it's nesting here, and nesting there, and nesting there, and it's not the easy chain like we've just seen. It's super complex, and customers, and also we as an ISV, or you as a service provider and system integrator, we are always overwhelmed by the complexity which is created by this ugly thing called group nesting. And here there's a tweet from Bloodhound, and he says that actually they thought that there were only 31 security principles to the local admin group, but thanks to group nesting, it's not 31, it's 733,415. And this makes everything extremely complicated. And the reason is also that it's not only complicated, there are also things which went wrong in the misconfiguration. Random users have ownership to domain controllers, workstation admins with local admin rights, and too short passwords for Kerberos domain admin. So we have a long history of things which go wrong in the configuration. So so the challenge is to have a mixture of wrong configuration, called the worst practices, and also the other issue of group nesting with a huge list of complexity. So that's the issue. And the idea of the tool, what I'm going to show you in a few seconds, is that it's going to show the attack path, because sometimes it can be good, sometimes it can be evil. So this tool is going to show you typical traffic light colors. Green is good, is wanted, is correct. Yellow is usually, let's have a closer look. It might be dangerous. And red is usually, it's dangerous, it's critical. You definitely need to take care and look at it. And that's the reason why this approach wants to eliminate people who are destroying and attacking, and also hardening hardening the path, because it's all about, now a buzzword, cyber resilience. Because we want to make sure with this tool that that at the end an AD and an Azure AD is more resilient, is harder, is defending better. So we're not only talking about the final attack, which was successful, and you need to roll back a backup. We also talk about attacks which weren't successful, but we learn from every kind of attack. So just imagine somebody is coming to your house and the person was not able to enter the door and get your goods and steal something, but you see scratches here, and you've seen that the person is already in the garden, is already in your backyard, and then you make sure, okay, next time more lamps in the backyard, better doors in your garden. So you are learning from the attempts, and that's the main message here. It's all about cyber resilience. We want to learn from the attempts, because when it's already too late and he broke in and everything was stolen, then it's too late. Not for IT, because we have backups, but in real life, sometimes we don't have backups for the things we love which are important for our memories. Do you have questions so far regarding this idea of visualizing the path using a tool? What we haven't built. So it's a partnership between Quest and a company called SpectreOps, and the idea is to really continuously map all paths, even it was just an attempt or successfully done, and then prioritizing critical, middle, and no risk, and also giving recommendations how to make everything stronger, harder, and more resilient. That's the idea here of this product. I'm going to stop here with the slides and go and give you a more detailed information how it looks inside the product. Do you have any questions so far? As you can see here, I've got two environments. So here I have got an AD forest enabled, which is here part of my report, of my visualization, and I've got also Azure AD. With Azure AD, it can also give information about attacks to Azure AD accounts, but it can also give information about Azure AD apps. So let's say we have an Azure AD app called Viva Goals, Viva Engage, Viva Sales. Then this can also be visualized, because also Viva app can also be a victim of an attack. So it's not only about users. In classical, it's all about users, it's all about groups, it's all about domains, it's about domain controllers, it's about computers, workstations, and so on, and printers. But in the new world, it's also about applications running in the cloud, known as Azure Enterprise Applications, which can be the ones you have developed for your customer, or others from third-party vendors, or from Microsoft, like Viva. And this can be measured. In my world here, everything is now, in the Azure world, everything is now pretty much, not so interesting. So no risk. So everything is yellow. So it doesn't make much sense here to go into the Azure world, because nothing exciting has happened here. So let's go a bit back to the on-premise world, where we have more risks. And the value here is that it shows you immediately the critical things which have happened. And then you can see with this kind of graphs, something here is increasing. So the non-tier 0 principles with privilege have increased, or we have the same level of Kerberos delegations here to tier 0. By the way, tier 0 is always the level of domain controllers. So tier 0 is domain controllers, tier 1 to servers, and tier 2 is always the level of PCs and workstations. Domain controllers 0, servers 1 and 2 are our laptops and workstations. So that's a kind of risk. And let's say when we want to know more about, let's say here, the risk about Kerberos delegations, then we see what happened. So here we can exactly see what happened. We can also see the timeline, what happened when, and then we see the user, and I want to know more about this user here, what's going on, and then I can explore and find out more about this user and where this user is a member of. And now by clicking all the different filters, I can increase and decrease the complexity and show that this user called Ehiba is a member of these groups, member of the local admin privileges, execution privileges, local admin privileges, and so on, RDP. So a lot of information which I can gather just by going into this attack path. So that's the idea actually, that we get a traffic light, or well, but it's not really. It's purple for really critical, and red and yellow. But here we get more information, and then we can also see what's happening here. This is the domain controller, and here we can see which computers are there, which domains, which group policies, which groups, and which users are there, and then we can see what could be relevant here, and then we can go back deeper into a group, or just pick a user, and then we can also edit it. So it's a mixture of visualizing and also editing. And then next to the attack path, we also see an exposure where I see, listen, I want to find more about the way of a user called Erheil. That's my name. And then I'm going to find out the way to the global admin service group here. And then I can see, okay, Ragnar is a member of the domain admins, and the domain admins can also read, write, and owning. They have ownership rights here to the service global group. So here I've got a full overview about my relationship, and then also what I can do with this relationship in terms of writing and reading. And this kind of graphical visualizations I don't have in the logs. So that's the message here. You can go to your AD management on Windows Server. You can go to Azure AD. You will find audit logs, but they don't visualize it. And if you're used to this tool, then you find coincidences, or you find strange things which you only recognize by visualization. You can look for hours into a table, but by looking into the table, you will not find it. You need to visualize it to find, that's an attack path, what we never thought about it. That is dangerous. And that's something what you only see by visualization. And then of course you also see trends. Let's say what happened here in the last year, and then you see that currently actually it's getting worse because the purple color is increasing a little bit, but it's more or less it's on the same level. But here you have got the most important attack path, and then you can see how the attack path were used, and I can see that currently there's a lot of new paths here around general privileges on tier 0 objects, but it's low. It's not so dangerous. So I should rather focus here on +10 critical, and a lot of issues here on the legal SID history. And I can see who is doing it. And I also can see immediately what is my remediation plan. And here, these are the steps I can do to cover or to recover everything and to prepare it and to make it harder and to make it more resilient. So I have immediately plans how to work and improve it. Many links to outside documentation are there, but that's the idea, to use the log files from AD on premises, from Azure AD, and then visualize it and find more information which you would never see by just using log files. That's the whole idea about it. Yeah, and I've seen as a preparation here of the session, I also watched a few videos, and one use case was that a service user was created for Azure AD Connect to migrate or to sync AD on premises to Azure AD for migration purposes, and then this user was still existing, and we don't need it actually anymore, but it was still there, and this was actually also a gap because people just forget to remove things. They create services, they create service principles for a migration use case, and then the migration is over, and the service is still there, is still existing, and can create a damage because it's going to be misused. So that's our idea, and that's the reason why we are now having a partnership between this company and Quest, and our story. Let's say from the marketing point of view, the story is that we don't want only to talk about backups. There are other great players on the market who do backups. There are many great companies, Keepit, AvePoint, VM, and so great companies. But we want to make sure that we talk about the life cycle of a cyber resilience, Azure AD and AD, and we care about the NIST core principles. And the NIST core principles are identify, protect, detect, and respond and recover. Because if somebody broke into the AD or into the Azure AD and the backup has to be restored, then it's sometimes already too late. And we want to start earlier. We want to make sure that a backup and restore is not necessary. That's the reason we want to do more proactive help and engage earlier and not only wait until the worst case has happened. Yes, we have tools to restore a forest. We can also restore a forest, let's say when a bomb has fallen onto the data center, which is a horrible use case, but unfortunately in this world, it's realistic. And we can also restore it back on Azure virtual machines, but we want to go earlier into the real-time attack tracking. That's the reason why we are having this partnership with Spectre Ops. Here are a few product names, but you don't have to remember all the product names. But the idea is that we from Quest have so many tools that we want to finally put all the tools into a life cycle, and that's the reason why we have our tools here mentioning for the NIST principles: identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. I don't want to go through every single tool, but I just want to highlight a few things. So the one thing which is interesting for this community, because this is an M365 community, is actually our tool called On-Demand Audit. And with On-Demand Audit, I'm also giving you a bit of a live demo right now to show you how you can also protect your teams, Viva, SharePoint, OneDrive, Yammer, Exchange, Azure AD, and also your AD on premises. And that's something what I'm going to show you, let's say 5 minutes. And then you see the value of this product compared to the out-of-the-box solution called Unified Audit Logs, part of the Security Center, and also the value add to other tools like Azure Sentinel. So here I'm in the Quest tool, and I'm going. This is running on Azure. It's a SaaS tool, and here when I click on Audit, I have my audit dashboard, and the biggest value is here that this tool is accessing AD on premises, the whole forest, but also Azure AD, and then Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, Team, and Exchange. Here you get overview about favorite searches, audit health, critical activities, sign-ins in the last 7 days, or sign-ins in the last 30 days or 52 weeks. And if you're working with several customers, then you can also go here and also make this visible for different tenants. Currently, I'm scanning 3 different tenants, but you can also make it visible for only one single tenant. Here you can also see critical activities like domain changes or admin login failures. And I would like to go deeper now into Teams. That's also something which is usually interesting. Here we have 167 predefined searches for critical governance topics and critical security topics. And I would like to go now a bit deeper into Teams. And here, for example, there is a search called Team App Events in the past 7 days. And as a preparation here of this meeting, of this meetup group, I have installed an app which I've never installed before. The app is called, I think, Lucid Work, was it? Yeah. So I just went into the App Store and I installed the app called Lucid Work. Lucid Chart, and it just mentioned that the Lucid Chart app was installed, and I immediately get information that a new app was installed. And I also got a nice email immediately, so it took me just a few seconds after I installed it, and then the email went out to me that a new app was installed, which is maybe not approved by your IT or by your workers council or by your data security people. So that's the whole idea about it, because many of you are delivering workshops around security, around governance, around compliance. These workshops are great, very helpful, but you also need to make sure that a tool is using the rules and the policies you define with your customer, and then also checks day and night the tenant for changes. New apps, new bots, configuration changes, and that's the value of the tool, and it's sending an alert by email when a change was happened. And you want to make sure to know all these changes, because we don't spend, and nobody spends the whole day watching log files. And the value is that they get an email and a notification after a critical change. So let's say you care about Teams guest access, because guest access can be dangerous for compliance and security reasons. Then use the Teams guest access configuration changes, and then it would run and tell you every time when you have done a change. Or when we talked to Karoliina, she talked about Viva. Let's create here a new category, and the new category is called is all about Viva. Then we are using a target here, and the target should contain Viva. And then I just save it to my searches, and I run it, and immediately I can see everything what happened. So here there's a Viva channel created, a Viva app called Sales is created on August 7th. And then also Dynamics wasn't enabled, and Viva Goals was installed and sign in. So I can see everything what happened around Viva, and I get every time when something around Viva happens, I get an email as an administrator. That is something what you cannot do with ordinary tools. And these log files can also be stored for, let's say, 12 years, and not only 19 days. Like in the usual security center. And some customers are regulated because they're in the banking industry or finance and insurance industry. They need to have a longer retention period of the log files. They need 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 9 years, 12 years, and not only 90 days. So that's also a nice way of storing log files. And it's a meta search between on-premise AD, Azure AD, and also Teams, Exchange, OneDrive, SharePoint, which goes through all the critical things you define with your customers in the workshop. So the tool needs you because you define the policies, and then the tool runs for you. Of course, we have predefined searches here, and you just enter the name Teams, and then you see all the predefined searches. But yeah, anyway, you can also do your own queries. That's the reason why we have added it into our portfolio. So at the end, it's, let me see if I just missed something. Yeah, so compared to the normal Microsoft Cloud auditing it's a typical quest story. We have a dashboard for on-premise and for the cloud in one single dashboard. That's something what Microsoft doesn't offer. We show peaks of enables and not expected spikes in behavior, also tracking of logged outs and risk events, and combine on-prem with the cloud and send email alerts immediately after something was changed or something was added, like an app, a bot, or a connector. And we show you what happened, when did it happen, who did it, where did it happen, and when. So the 5 W's were reflected. And then the retention time and the Google searching style, that's the value why we have created it. So we are not competing here with Sentinel. It's just a bit better way of using audit logs. That's our newest release, and we have launched everything in July, end of July, so it's pretty new. And this is the whole offering and our answer to the question, hey Quest, you've got hundreds of products, and we have like 200 products actually. Could you please make it into menus? Could you make it more consumable? We don't want to go to your list of 200 products. Could you please make nice menus, like a 3 menu, or how do you call it in English? A three-way menu or 4-way 5. And that's the reason why we've made now this new bundle in combination with the Spectre Ops. And Spectre Ops is also an open source tool. It's free, so you can choose between the free version and the premium version. But the free version is a very good start, and everything can be found when you just Google Bing Bloodhound, and then you also find nice ways also of the blog. They have a wonderful blog, which is here, and this blog also helps you to go deeper into Azure applications, and they show you how to make sure to track attacks of an AD, of an Azure enterprise application, or of an Azure Kubernetes container, or of an Azure API misuse. So this blog post is absolutely pure gold. So if you are a developer and not only an IT pro, then this also makes sense to use this kind of graphical visualization when making your apps which you produce for your customers more secure. So it offers value for AD on-premises, Azure AD accounts, and also for Azure applications. And that's the reason why we're partnering and reselling it. But yeah, it's free, it's open source, and there's a premium model which you can contact Spectre Ops or us as a reseller, just as you like. But that's our story of not only talking about backups when it's already too late. We want to help in an earlier phase, and not when we just have to rescue and firefighting. Thanks so much.
Great stuff, Ragnar. Thanks very much. Bit of open source, bit of community tooling, as well as your product marketing. So good job. And I think, like you say, I think because a lot of the tools, when you see natively, they're just not available. And I think the key takeaway there is, of course, the visualization, right? I think the more there is, and because you can have all the tools, free tools that you want, but then you end up putting a lot of effort, or in some cases, it just goes unnoticed. So I think good one. So it's yeah. I think there was a couple of comments and questions as well. I think from Alex. So I don't know, Alex, if you wanted to unmute yourself and perhaps maybe ask questions, and please do go for it now. Or maybe it'll come up in a second. But yeah, I think Ragnar, you can take a look at some of the comments that were there, I think. So yeah, I think I got a couple of questions, if I may, just to sort of start off. I think for me, it's like, you can have your traditional IT teams, right, who's doing so many roles, as an administrator, for example, who might be a tenant administrator and a domain or exchange if it isn't on-prem. How do you view that from your perspective when you visit your customers and the scenarios in terms of the effort required, not just to train and understand these tools, but to try and have that in a way that works autonomously, if you like, with roles changing and everything else. Do you have any viewpoints around that?
That's a very good point. So because my last demo about the Quest auditing tool, I've shown you a lot of automation stuff around the configuration changes. But here but the thing what you mentioned is more that we don't forget things. So for example, when we use Azure AD Connect, then there is service principal, and after a while we don't need to synchronize anymore because everything is already in Azure AD, but we just forget to remove the service principal. And that's something where policies can also help here to set reminders. Hey, did you care about, we assume that the migration is now finished. Please don't forget to just remove this principal. So it's a mixture of reminding of policies or alerts about reminding us. It can be a bot, it can be something else, email bot, whatever you like, Teams message, a adaptive card or whatever, but also then get immediately alerts about configuration changes and apps which are not approved. Yeah. Because we have GDPR, and GDPR is all about that we need to discuss when an app is going to access data, collect data, and move it to a third level country, which is not. Sorry, I don't want to go into details here, but
no, sure.
The accusation of moving data out of the European Union. Sorry, I'm just stopping here. But that's a conversation what we usually have. And for many companies, it's okay. But for other companies, they say, no, we need to know when data is going to leave the European Union, because then we have a GDPR issue on the table, and we get risk of getting penalties.
Yeah.
And the compliance people want to know it. They just want to know it, and these tools help to create awareness. That's the thing. So it's not only about security, it's also about the compliance topics, which can be then forwarded to the compliance officer. So the compliance people can also create their own queries. So the security people have their queries, the AD people have their queries, compliance have their own queries, and governance have their own queries. And finally, everybody is immediately informed. And as sooner the person is informed about a dangerous change or an attack, the sooner they know it, the faster they can just fix it and close it and terminate it. That's the whole idea.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's the key.
It's all about speed.
On the same page. I think that's the key.
It's all about speed, and the important thing is don't flood your IT with new messages, because they don't want to get 1,000 new messages from your system, because then they do not read it. So the system should only give alerts to the most important, relevant ones, because otherwise they just create a new Outlook folder where everything goes into the Outlook folder, and then they just delete it when they've reached 1,000 unread mails.
That is exactly what I see. And I think this is taking to my next question. There is that I see
you need AI.
Well, there's that, and I think especially with small businesses, right, where if they don't have the infrastructure support, or they use some kind of a managed service to kind of have their infrastructure looked after. But I find in a lot of scenarios where you have a typical Microsoft 365 administrator who may not be fully skilled to understand everything from end to end, but yet they're given the responsibility to make sure that everything is lights on in a good order, right?
Yeah.
So the question is how. So the tools that you demonstrated, like the SpectreOps and some of the free ones, for somebody who's, let's say, like a kind of a collaboration administrator type role, who looks after the SharePoint, the Teams elements of it as well. What sort of a jump would you say there is for somebody to at least skill up? And I appreciate it's a totally different discipline. It's an IT pro type role, right? But would you have any, Any thoughts around that? How would somebody
The value
take up some kind of a tools to monitor?
I think the value from this kind of tools, and I'm talking now about all the other tools. So the great governance tools, Rancor, A4, whatever. The value is here that the best practices are already defined. So in my past, when I was a consultant for SharePoint, which I was for more than 10 years, I always got the question, hey, could you please share more best practices? We're not the first customer who are doing this. And now all these security and compliance and governance tools have their inbuilt best practices, and you can just reuse it. So literally, you just run the tool. It will go night and day and use the best practices, and then fire when a critical threshold is reached. Then it fires and kicks in and informs you. And you are in charge of defining the threshold. Some companies and enterprises are more sensitive. Others are more relaxed. But you define the thresholds. And if you say, listen, I got 176 best practices from Quest. I need 20 more. Then you just make your own queries, and then you finally have 200 best practices, and you just run it. And the tool runs night and day, because trust me, it is impossible to do it manually. You have no chance. This 200 policies, you can never ever check it. It's exhausting. It's completely impossible. And I'm always preaching that things what human beings can do and not tools cannot do, that's something what human beings should do. But things what tools can be better, humans should not do. We need to find, as human beings, we need to find our USP again and only do the work what tools cannot do. And that's use case.
It's a good point. It's a very good point.
Where tools are better.
Yeah, it's when to say no and when to kind of, have that response. I think I'll just probably read out a comment from here, I think from Alex Magnay, which is a very valid and true point, and it goes like this. Companies are often bad at governance of identities and groups, tracking their ownership. I've seen that, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And the cleaning up is always left until when it's really required.
Exactly. Because we definitely we cannot scale. We are so bad, and especially maybe we as male, we are so bad in scaling. We cannot do really proper multitasking, and so I'm more recommending to spend more time project management and change management and the human side of the project, because there are so many things which can be automated using tools. And if we just do the stuff to save costs, then we're saving it at the wrong part.
Yeah, so it's a mindset. No, good, great stuff. Well, excellent. I think good to have you.
Thanks
I think I was just going through the meeting chat just to see if there's any other questions, and if there is any questions, by all means unmute, as I mentioned. So, but whilst that happens, I can probably just try and wrap up. But just wanted to say, big thanks, Ragnar, for
Oh, it's my pleasure.
The
thank you so much.
So good to have you, and a great insight into how to make it easier, and certainly looks a lot more usable in terms of that visualization of those tools. So for the attendees, I've put the link as I mentioned earlier. So there's a link for the feedback. Again, just the same as Karoliina earlier. If you can please fill that out, that would be great. Again, I'm sure that slides that Ragnar will share, that can be improved.
I will share it in 5 minutes, definitely.
Sure, no problem. If there's anything else you want to see attendees, then just drop that comments in the feedback. So then I think Ragnar will greatly take that. The main points here is the slides, videos. Again, the links are in the chat window, so just look out on Friday or Saturday, or just go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, M365 UK, and then that way you'll just get alerted when the recording is up there. For some of you, if you saw what you liked today, then don't be shy. Just submit your session on the that link over there, or you can just head over to my blog site techchirag.com and then and just fill out a short form. So, and if you need any help, or if you think you're a new speaker, happy to help you all the way. So just ask and just reach out to me on that one. But otherwise, just want to say for everyone, thanks for joining. The next event, which I haven't really, I'm just waiting on a couple of speakers, but I hope to continue in-person event in the Microsoft Reactor in London around middle of September. So the date and the venue that the speakers will be fixed once I get the update. So just have a look on the meetup.com /M365 UK. So as soon as the event is up and running, then I hope to see you in person for mainly the folks in the UK, and of course if there are folks who wants to travel into UK, then obviously as ever you're always welcome to. So with that, I'll probably just wrap the event today, and big thanks to everyone, and again Karoliina, Ragnar, look after.
Thank you so much.
And hope to see you at some community event soon.